name of some of our brothers from Ego. Okay. So Engineer Henry Nduka Aurego is in the studio this morning. Former Director General, Enugu and Southeast Chamber of Commerce. Currently DG and CEO, Scholars Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Member, EPSU Governing Council. Engineer, welcome to the studio of Legacy FM.
Thank you, my dear brother.
Okay.
Chikwere.
I wouldn't say you're late, but you came after time.
With your permission.
All right. So let's get straight to the point. Our focus this morning is an empowerment program, having the young and the youth in mind. If you have followed processes of empowerment in Ebonyi State, you know that a lot of government empowerment before now has been treated with all kinds of controversies, where some persons have said that political office holders have garnered the courage to corner some of the benefits and proceeds of some of this empowerment program. While some persons have said that, yes, we now have a governor who has the interest of the people, who is focused on human capital development. But just about 4 to 5 months ago, he did his own empowerment program where he tried to take hawkers away from the street to core business circle. And it was also treated with all kinds of some controversies, allegations, and counter allegations. It was that particular exercise that have landed the PDP spokesperson in prison or correctional center currently, where he alleged that members of that committee cornered greater part of the money and are waiting for the final judgment of that case. Let's see who is right or wrong. So, Engineer Nduka this morning is in the studio to begin to how best to anchor this empowerment program should another one come. Because we know that His Excellency decided that hawkers empowerment is in badges. The first badge is the one that generated this high level of controversy. So we want to know how best he has played in the Chamber of Commerce, both locally and internationally. He's also playing currently in Governing Council of Ebonyi State University. He's somebody who we know, without sounding him modest this morning, he has made contribution in certain areas in this current government, even without you citing him at a school chamber. Which we pray that brains like this should be properly utilized where they are actually needed. Engineer, welcome once again.
Wow, Geoffrey, thank you so much. You sound as if you are campaigning for me. Let me also commend you for the good work you are doing on Legacy FM and then the Legacy FM family for bridging the gap between public sector and private sector in the area of communication in Ebonyi State. I think you deserve a very serious national award, or even a state award, honestly.
They should keep bringing it on.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Good. And our people, thank you so much for listening to Legacy FM. This morning, the subject is very, very critical. Critical in the sense that the government of the day, under the leadership of our great leader, Right Honorable Francis Ogbonnamufuru, His Excellency, is really under a mantra which is very current and correct. And that is the mantra of the People's Charter of Needs. And inside the People's Charter of Needs, it appears that human capital development is taking the center stage because of the passion and the concern of the governor. And of course, he has demonstrated that not just in words, but in action. And that is why today we are redefining empowerment in Ebonyi State. That empowerment is not just about sharing. Empowerment is not about consumption. Empowerment is to increase productivity. Empowerment aims at human capital development. And if you look at the governor's policies, you discover that yes, he is honestly pursuing that. Not just in sharing to 2 million and all other resources for empowerment, but also looking at how to really develop the minds. You see what is happening in this scholarship board. Our people are getting ready to be, about 300 of them will be leaving this country. That is empowerment. And then the issue of taking hawkers out of the street. The governor was very, very straight to the point on that. That is not just bringing them and giving them money. There was the issue of skill acquisition or even skill development. And then training for in particular trades. That was, for me, the real empowerment, not even the money. Because like I always say, if you give even 100 million to an unempowered mind, that 100 million will vamoose. Okay, so there is always need for that training even before the money is given. I think we are still trying to get it right. The governor in his own is not just the ones that we can see. Privately, he's empowering a lot of people. Privately, this is a governor that believes in having Ebonians do most of the work that we used to hire outsiders to come and do. Even in his own private, you see him allowing people from our place to do most of the jobs. You see, and that is why it is very critical to that our leaders, political leaders, those who are in appointive positions that have direct connection with this issue of empowerment, to see it that it is more important to train before giving. Very, very important. In fact, the sequence should be, first of all, identification. When you identify, you profile. Identification in the sense that you go to all these places as the governor has directed. Go to Onitsha, Port Harcourt, Lagos. Our people are hawking. You don't need a soothsayer. You don't even need a prophet to prophesy before you identify Ebonians that are hawking. 80 to 90% of all the hawkers in Nigeria are from Ebonyi State. That's the truth. Especially in these cities that we are mentioned. When you harvest them by identification, you now profile them. What can they do? What have they done? What do they have passion for? What area can we channel these people so that their productivities can increase? And then after that, you give them training based on those areas. Training in terms of not just seminar. The training we're talking about is not about a workshop. It is about human capacity building in specific skills. And then when those skills are impacted, you don't even give them money immediately. You now do what we call incubation. Very important. I think that's where our policy implementers are not really getting it very, very right. There is need for incubation. At the process of incubation, you will notice that some of them may even tell you that they don't need the money again. It has happened when we did it when I was still in the Chamber of Commerce and the Industry. We were doing this for CBN during the Agnes loan. We had about 83 persons to train in Enugu State. And after the training, during incubation, about 75 of them said, we no longer need the loan. We have identified our problem and we are ready to go and do that. That's true. Because during incubation, you will allow them to do a micro aspect of what you are training them to do. And when they do that, it's in form of before you even give them the money, they are already like experts. The ground is like fertile and watered, ready to accept the crop that will be planted. And so when you give them the money, naturally the money goes into the system and result will be produced almost immediately. So that's where we need to think in the direction EPSMEDA, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, all the agencies that are involved in implementing the governor's policy in terms of empowerment should look into that. These people must be incubated. And then finally, it is, you see, Bible is always correct. The Bible says that one can chase 1,000, but two will not just chase 2,000 but 10,000. That's the power of compound interest, the power of synergy, the power of partnership and networking. So instead of giving one person 2 million, for me, I think we should look at more of cooperatives and business hubs. Okay. You know, business hubs, very important. That's critical. That's what makes Hong Kong today. That is what has made Chicago. And everyone can take that cue. If we select about 10 persons that are going, for instance, in the business of poultry, and give them, instead of 2 million to 10 persons, which is 20 million, give them 15 million for 10 of them, and then charge them. And that money should not be called free money, really. Even though the intention of the governor is to make it free money, but it should not be. It should be made to be like a loan. Let it be that at a certain stage, you write off the loan. Very important, so that fear of stealing the money from those who are implementing it, the fear of the people who are giving the money misusing it, will also be mitigated or at least reduced to the barest minimum. So for me, that's my little take on that. But as for the general intention and the policy of the governor, honestly, our governor is just hitting the nail at the head.
Okay, let's look at what we know as empowerment before now in a Ebonyi state. We'll start from National Assembly members. Sometimes they come back during December period or any festive period, share motorcycles. When they share these motorcycles, they give you 5,000 naira to buy a fuel. Some share, one of your brothers shared her pan and a shovel as an empowerment exercise then. So in defining what should make, because the essence of empowerment is that the person's life becomes better than the day he applied for such empowerment program. And he also mentioned that away from this minor empowerment I told you, is giving motorcycle, hair pan and shovel. Also giving we also saw recently that grinding machine has become part of the empowerment program. You see, after the announcement, National Assembly members invite their constituents and they give you some of these, sometimes farm input, and they describe it as empowerment. Is that really empowerment? What empowerment should be?
Well, that's exactly, I really agree with you, because I know the direction you're coming from. And I'm also happy that you're a youth. You wear the shoe, you know where it pinches. People are more aware now, and then the way we did things in the past shouldn't be the way we're doing things now, because people are more aware. Technology has made things to make people included in policies and programs of government. Honestly speaking, from my own personal perspective, empowerment was totally misunderstood in Nigeria. Empowerment is not giving people material things. For me, empowerment involves development of the mind, development of the skills, development of the scale of production, where people are, intentionally guided to acquire new skills, learn or have new knowledge, gain what we call technology transfer, okay, and then help them to upskill and upscale their activities for greater productivity. That for me is empowerment. Unfortunately, when you mention empowerment within the political space in Nigeria, people will begin to think, how much are they going to share? 10,000 sometimes, to 2,000 or 1,000 even. Like you rightly say, some people will even share like wheelbarrow, keke, and all of that. Even giving people who don't know how to ride keke.
Yes.
Giving a cycle to a man who has never climbed a motorbike before. And for me, that is doing what should have been done first. The first thing in empowerment, like I said before, is training and retraining. Human capital development,
okay,
which is what
I love the fact you're saying training and retraining, and you seem to have passed the vote of confidence on the governor in the area of human capital development.
Yeah.
Let's get back to this Hawkers empowerment exercise. What we read is that announcement was made. Some persons were sent to Port Harcourt, some now Onitsha, some to Lagos and Abuja. Peak Ebonyans were hawking there, and after that, profiling happened. The profiling was just your name, possibly your ward, your LGA, and all that. Did you at any time perceive any form of training? There's something you call the incubation period. Did it happen before that money was released?
Well, I don't know, because I didn't really follow the procedures that was taken in this area. I was probably overwhelmed by the good intention of the governor, because when I heard 2 million, that's the first time that a state governor was very, very sincere and open to that. I tended to kind of delve into the mindset or the heart of the governor, and I saw the passion. And he's only a man that have been there that will, do what he's doing. Okay. So, but how and where and the manner it was handled, for me, I didn't pay much attention to that. I must be very honest with you. However, a lot of complaints and counter complaints, defenses, and all of that, which, as you rightly mentioned, led to one of our brothers being in the correctional center today. Not necessarily because of that, but because of the approach that he took anyway. However, the right approach, like I have said, so that if that did not happen in the past, it should happen in the next. Because I know these things will come in phases. The usual phase is identification. That's the first thing to do.
Okay.
That identification will lead to profiling. Identification in the sense that you need to know who you are giving this money. Where are they from? Where have they been? What have they done? We need to have the identity. And today you don't need to do that by just asking questions. Okay? NIN will give you all those records. BVN, all of that. So you download all of that and then you categorize. By categorization, I mean, how many persons are going into tiling, for example? How many persons are going into plumbing? How many persons are going into export? How many persons are going into import? All of that, you put all of that and then you categorize. Then you now do training based on the various categories.
Okay, I was asking somebody who participated in the empowerment program.
Okay.
He sells charger somewhere at around the Naira Triangle in Ilugu. So I cited the young man last time and I asked him, I saw it in a back media and you said you came for empowerment program. He said, of course, that I should look at his wheelbarrow now that the business has improved. So he now, from the 2 million naira, bought more product. It means he has not been taken away from the street. He only bought more product and is still on the street there. So nothing has really changed. Is there anything called follow-up each time this empowerment is done? Who mentors some of them? Who supervises their engagement? Because the interest of governor, according to part of his statement, except from what he said then, was that the need for this is that those of them that cannot return home, at least from that 2 million naira, will be able to get a shop, have a more decent business environment. But some of these guys returned to what they were doing before. In fact, they enlarged it. Some of them even returned to the village and picked their younger ones, went back to the street again. So are we having monitoring? Are we succeeding? Because if we just say that the government has given to 2 million naira, it sounds so big. But has it achieved the purpose of issuing that money? Because that defines the empowerment.
Yes. You are just saying the facts. The issue is that we have all of these institutions in place that will do most of the things you are saying. But like I said before, I didn't pay much attention to the implementation. I was only grossed with the policy itself, you know. But I know that a body like EBSMEDA, Ebonyi State Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency, is really the round peg in the round hole in terms of what you are saying, supervision, monitoring, and I know we have a DG there that is grounded, that is just a technocrat, and the governor did not make any mistake in appointing Dr. Stephen Odo to man that very body. Where I don't know how far they are going, but what you are saying is both correct and apt. That it is not just about giving out this money. Like the issue of the person you mentioned, the person that was supposed to be taken away from the street with wheelbarrows, hawking phone appliances. I think the idea of the governor was to make life better for these people.
So if you're using one wheelbarrow and you get it 2 now, that is
with 2 million he ought to be in a shop.
That's exactly
with
what
2 million he is either he's in a shop or he has metamorphosed from using wheelbarrow to marketing products online, having capacity to supply, you know, or even go into something else depending on his passion. Because some of these people who are using wheelbarrow to sell may not have original passion of doing what they are doing. So that's why the issue of identification, profiling, categorization that I was mentioning before even the training. Now after the training, they ought to have gone into incubation. And that incubation would have been perfect with collaboration. Because you don't incubate one man. It will be a very big job for EBSMEDA or the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. It will be by hubs, okay, partnerships, and putting these people together to collaborate and work as a company. Because the essence of the government doing this, let's look at the long term now. The long term goal was to industrialize Ebonyi.
Exactly.
To commercialize Ebonyi. To make Ebonyi a hub for investors. And so we need to build platforms, markets. For me, even, I was expecting to see like Ebonyi Tech Business Hub, expecting to see Ebonyi Mechanic Village Hub, Ebonyi Industrial Hub, Ebonyi Agro Processing Hub. Because you see, Geoffrey, our farming is still under the level of agriculture. You know, agriculture is actually a culture. That's the culture in the agri. But we have a lot of people have left us behind. They are no longer doing agriculture. They are now doing agri-business.
Yes.
Agro industries, where you now not just depend on the agri produce, but the agri processed products. So that our cassava will not just be akpu and garri. Our cassava will now metamorphose to even
starch,
biofuel, starch, glycerol. All of these things can come up, and that's where industrialization.
We keep hearing this each time government does empowerment. What we keep hearing is that, for instance, that each time government announces empowerment program, set up a committee. You hear that the committees awarded slot to themselves. Even if the empowerment is for lunatics on the street, they will now identify their family members who are healthy lunatics and also make them part of the empowerment program. They pick people from their family. Do you think government should separate empowerment program from core politics or reward for appointees?
Yes, I totally agree with you. That should be shifted, and for me it is totally condemnable and wrong that somebody who is supposed to midwife a policy begins to corrupt that policy. Is terrible. And I think the governor will not be happy with that, to hear that. I don't believe that should exist in this current administration. This administration is about 80% young people. When you talk about give the youth a chance, I think Ebonyi is number one in Nigeria today in terms of giving the youth a chance. We ought to do things differently. You see, the real definition of the word poor is not about lack of money. Poor is an abbreviation, that is passing over opportunities repeatedly. That's the meaning of poor. And so and you have the opportunity of empowering people to become millionaires, and you deny them those opportunities. You are a poor person. You have passed over that opportunity repeatedly. And so we need somebody that can bridge that gap. You see what the governor is having in mind. The Right Honorable Francis Ogbonnamifuru wants a situation whereby after 8 years of his administration, I believe he will make it to 8 years. Mm-hmm. Now you look back and say, an Ebonyian, please, we need 1 billion in so and so area, and somebody will raise up hand and say, look, I will do that. In Anambra, just like as you have in Anambra today, the politics of Anambra is totally different from our politics, because in Anambra State, an individual can actually say, okay, I will take up the payment of salaries for the entire month. Is there? We need to have people who are captains of industry in Ebonyi State. People who can take up some of the responsibilities that government are battling with today. And so it is this kind of policies that the governor is bringing on board, and somebody is sitting down and you are sharing it to political cronies. No. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable to the person of His Excellency Right Honorable Francis Ogbonnamifuru. That is unacceptable to an average Ebonyi.
The political analyst in Ebonyi State says that the current governor of Ebonyi State throws money on problems, and that doesn't solve any problem. Do you think he throws money once he sees that this is a problem? This is it. Take and do this.
You see, I pity our governor. You know, this is a governor that inherited a lot of things. I know, Geoffrey, you've been in government. You know what this governor has inherited. The debt profile of Ebonyi, the poverty rate, the unemployment rate, the inflation rate, which is national, the low GDP and all of that. You see, and you see him tackling it headlong. For me, I pity him. And Ebonyi is about 4 million people. And one man is thinking out of the box on how to quickly and speedily.
I doubt if he's one man. That's why we have commissioners.
No.
That's why we have as a facility.
I agree with you, but you see, that is why he is the man on top. Okay. That's the one man I need.
Because if you say he's one man thinking, and that means he's being dictatorial.
No, you see, the truth of the matter is that he needed, of course, who thought out the People's Charter of Need. That's his personal. It's not the type that somebody will suggest. It was his motivation, his intent. If you go too close to him, you see that That Ebonyi People's Charter of Need is based on his experience and where he's coming from. Right. Okay, now you look at all of this. So throwing money into the problem is because there are so many problems. And look, this man, because of the problem he inherited, he said, I'm not going to borrow money again. He has not borrowed a dime since the inception of this administration, and he's doing a whole lot. Before we
go into allowing callers to participate this morning, yeah. Well, I once listened to one of the former governors in Ebonyi State who defined political appointment as empowerment. Does appointing people into positions of authority, whether they have office to operate from, whether they have a tax to fulfill, like you come for instance. Currently in Ebonyi State, we have Ministry of Commerce and Industry. We have Ministry of Human Capital Development. We have Ministry of, I think Business Development has been restored to Commerce and Industry. And usually this is just simply the duty of a particular ministry. Under this ministry, we're having SAs attached to the ministries again. Is that not being wasteful? Or do you call it empowerment process?
Well, you see, that takes us again to our understanding of what empowerment is all about. You see, I said empowerment is not giving people money. Mm-hmm. And if that is what the person means by saying a political appointment is empowerment, for me, it's still okay. Look, people are given positions of leadership, not just to exercise leadership, but to also learn in the process of leadership. You see, so by that aspect of learning, is an empowerment. But if what the person means is to make money and to grab everything that is available, no, that is a no for me. Right. Okay, so empowerment is necessary for leadership, and that's why I believe that those who are given appointment are also empowered by the government to exercise leadership and to also take more leadership roles.
Okay. In case of just joining us, this is Inside Politics on Legacy 95.4 FM, and we have engineer here in Duka Ewurego in our studio this morning, former Director General, Enugu and Southeast Chambers of Commerce, currently DG and CEO, Scholars Chamber of Commerce and Industry, member, EPSU Governing Council, empowerment. Focus is in Ebonyi State. If you just joined us, you can join the program now by making inputs, calling 0814-915-1274. You can alternatively join the program by calling 070-1166-1003. Again, the central line is 0814-915-1274. We have Ebonians who are now at a chairmanship level in that sector. If somebody is interested in maybe construction, we have people who are into that. This person now takes charge of those who interest is in construction. Those who are into maybe breweries or beverages like a beer and other consumable, now take charge of those who has interest in that. Do you think a permanent exercise should be separated from those in government payroll?
Yes, yes and no, depending on what we want to achieve. Okay, now there are people who are not gifted in the area of public service jobs and all of that. There are those who are entrepreneurs, core entrepreneurs. You see why I was talking about identification and classification. Now, if you want to empower civil servants to have second address, for example, as we call it, okay, now that is not wrong. Right? Empower civil servants to have farms, to have poultry farms and all of that, to even have core service provision like data analytics, business analytics, consulting and all of that. But
okay,
if you now want to empower
for us to listen to our callers now, we'll return to begin to give for them. Hello, good morning. Godfrey, is the man in the studio a commissioner in Ebonyi State or not? If not, the current governor of Ebonyi State should think twice. This is the third time we are having this type of guests in the studio. Is him, Dr. Sam, that each time they are in the studio, I'm hearing from him for the first time, I must carry my jota to put down certain things. And that is what broadcasting should be. Why I say kudos to Legacy FM. I recommend wholeheartedly that this person should be given a position of authority that will involve speaking to Ebonians on regular basis. Please, it should be done and be done fast enough. I wish I can have his contact, even though I am just managing a poultry farm. Godfrey, frankly speaking, I applied for the from the street to 2 million naira empowerment. From the day they collected my passport, Oh, the next thing I heard is that they ate money, they didn't eat money, nobody called me again. But to my greatest surprise, I have somebody who is related to a serving commissioner today who has nothing to do with any kind of business or trading, but his name appeared and he has received his 2 million naira during the disbursement process. The truth is that nobody will tell the current governor the truth now until the time we told Dave Umahi the truth 6 months to the end of his administration, and I hope he pays attention to that. Hey, sir. Children, thank you for calling this morning and God bless you. Go ahead.
First of all, I want to appreciate the guest in the studio.
God bless you.
Thank you. God bless
I
you.
am very, very surprised that such a person is not make the commissioner list in Ebonyi State. Because it is a type of person that if we have him as a commissioner in this state, there will be great things. And secondly, that's the problem we're having in this country, that if you are not answering that to them, you will be recognized. But I know a day shall come, something will happen and you will be recognized, and there will be change in this state. Coming to what he said, the man is full of wisdom, and I am very happy that I had his voice this morning. The reason why I'm calling is if he can release his contact, I will be very, very glad. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Chinedu. Hello, good morning.
The very one that was done was hijacked. And I don't think anything was done to the people that hijacked it. Those people are bragging, and if there be anyone who is a whistleblower, that person goes down very well into the pit. And so I want to say this. These are the people that want the governor's tenure. In fact, they want him to fail. And in their heart, they will be saying, yes, we're pulling him down. But
Coming from Nwafo from Ebonyi State. Godfrey, let me summarize it. The current governor of Ebonyi State has done so many things very right, and he seems to have good intention. But that does not take away the fact that he's turning Ebonyi State government house to old people's home, where old politicians are being catered for with contracts and money for health treatment. I'm talking about former senators, former ministers, former ambassadors. Godfrey, make investigation. Look at the list of people he's giving contract for 2 kilometers of roads, school buildings, and all that. These are politicians who just left office the other day. Is that how to grab on and empower people that after his 8 years he will call on somebody and the person can contribute 1 billion naira? I think there is a lot of misplaced priority in this government, or he's afraid of his next tenure. The way he carries old politicians along is a sign that he's afraid of so many things. Those that are defecting to APC today are not defecting because they love the governor. They have heard that he's dishing out contract, even to those who have not handled a